If there was ever a chance for you to return, would you ever come back? Would you ever do Zaz again? And would you ever want to play
Yeah,
that character again?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I had so much fun doing it.
So the coincidentally, Father of Three, the movie really struck home for me, and I had to just go be like, guys, please be quiet. I'm going to be doing an interview.
That's amazing. That's all the more. That's the best. Starting it off with with some fatherly
it could
needs. You know.
exactly, yeah, it couldn't be more fatherly for me. Anthony, how are you today? It's really great to get to talk to you.
I'm doing great. Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to talk to you too.
Thank you very much. So I've seen Fatherhood, um, and gosh, it is just a beautiful movie, incredibly heartfelt, very emotional. I was weeping 10 minutes in,
Yeah.
just tears, and I think I had to pause for a minute. I was like, okay, all right. Um, I'm curious, when you got that script and you start reading that story, I mean, was it like that for you? Did you kind of like have these moments where you're like, oh wow, this is heavy?
I did, but like the beautiful thing about the script was that it really kind of walked the line, towed the line of handling this really, gosh, I mean, I cried reading the script, but then at the next scene, I'd be like laughing and like doubled over because it manages to just find such a balance of both. And I think that there's something in this movie for everyone, like you said, it's really, it deals with a lot of heavy subject material, but at the same time it's also like really inspiring, and you walk away from it feeling like uplifted and happy too. So that's an important thing to identify as well.
I completely agree with you. Very hilarious. One of the things that I think uh, stood out for me was when Kevin's character Matt is changing the diaper, and he like leans over and like leans right, and you're just like,
Yep.
oh, that's so
You're like,
real.
yeah, danger zone, danger
That's
zone.
so real. I mean, that's
Oh.
that's exactly the kind of situations you deal with.
Exactly. Yeah, they didn't
Was
shy
it?
away from that.
Yeah. Was it interesting working with? I guess it had to be great working with Paul Weitz. I mean, who American Pie and About a Boy, and you've got these two like, yeah, like very different movies that almost feel very like brought in here because there's a lot of sort of outlandish humor and a lot of real heart too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Paul was just a wonderful director to work with. I mean, he's first of all, he's just so intelligent, and his script was like just really, nuanced, right? That's what you kind of love to see, is that like it hits all these notes of being an emotional film, and yet it's not sappy. And that's a difficult thing to do, because a lot of those movies that'll kind of make you cry or tear jerkers, they tend to be on the sappier side of things, but this one somehow remains to be light and like just pops. And yeah, just working on set with Paul, like he brings this like life and curiosity to each scene, where he's just kind of like, he wants to find it in the moment. And that's really refreshing, because sometimes you get directors who have this very strict idea of like, this is what it is, and like, just let's try to get this. And Paul was like, I don't know, like, let's kind of find out, like, let's see what we can get. And that was a great attitude going in.
That actually was something I was going to kind of ask about. Was there's a lot of moments in the movie that feel sort of ad-libbed or improvised, and I was curious if there was a lot of that with you guys in your scenes.
There was a decent amount. I mean, I can't speak to the scenes that I was not in, but certainly, I mean, we had a great script, but once you get in there with guys like Kevin Hart, Lil Rel Howery, you're gonna just start playing around and riffing, and it was so hard to keep it together when that would happen, because these guys are just hysterical. And yeah, so that's one of the things I think that brings real life and spontaneity into the movie, is all of these kind of like, these ad libs and these improvised moments.
Well, I know that what you say about them, and like Rel and Kevin are just brilliant, but you are a very, very funny actor. I mean, you're absolutely incredible on screen, charismatic all the time.
Thanks,
And
man.
so
We gotta talk.
I'm
We
really
gotta talk more often.
listen. I am such a huge fan. Like, it's so I'm like, okay, don't fanboy. Don't be like, don't start
No,
talking about Dennis
great.
Caleb McCoy.
Listen, best Sunday I could have spent. Like, I love this.
Same. What's your mindset going in? You're like, man, I'm going in with these guys who are just like relentless comedy powerhouses,
Oh yeah. I mean, I think, the thing is that you just want to do well. You just want to like contribute and be of service to this project and not like mess it up too much. You really want to come in respectful, but it's that's a testament to those guys, and pretty much everyone in the cast is like, they really put you at ease so that you can do your best work. There's no like uh-oh, like I gotta say something, I gotta figure this out, because it's such a kind of welcoming environment. So that was a really kind of wonderful kind of surprise for me, was just how how open those guys were to playing around.
Yeah. I really love the poker scene.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it reminded me so much of like Big Daddy or something like that. Like, it was very it was just really great. Are you much of a poker player yourself?
I do. You know what? I won the other night.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I like, no, in general. In short, no, I'm not. I'm trying to get better, but yeah, no, I like to play poker. I mean, I certainly like Melody Hurd was a difficult poker opponent, I will say, but
right.
Wonderful actor to work off of, but her poker skills are next level. So yeah, that was just such a fun scene. Gosh.
Yeah, well, I mean, she is just like
she's mind-blowing. She's so good. She's so good.
Yeah, I was really impressed with how much she really brings to every single scene, because a lot of times you get kid actors and you're not really sure how they're going to play it. She is like already an absolute icon.
She's so bright and she's such a light, and it's when you show up as an actor and the other person, the other person that you're playing off, it just makes it easy for you. That's a testament to real talent. And that's exactly what it is. I mean, you don't really even need to act off of her, because she's just being there. She's just being present. And yeah, it was just such a pleasure to work with her. She's going to go so far.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. Someone else who's fantastic that you guys will work with was Mr. Paul Reiser.
Yes.
And I'd love to know how that was like for you working opposite him.
Oh my God, I love Paul. I mean, I'm just like such a huge fan of his. I had to kind of like contain my my fanboying momentarily, and like not be like, what was Aliens 2 like? What was like? What was Aliens like to work on? What was it like? Like, I gotta know. But still, he just a class, like such a classy guy, and really made the set so warm, and like he's got such a comedic background as well. So like there's not a weak link in the cast. Everyone showed up. Everyone brought something really wonderful to the table, and we all just had a good time. I think that shines through.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the scene where you're all around the crib, which feels very directly an homage to 3 Minute a Baby, right?
Sure. Yes.
Intentional?
Absolutely. I don't know if it was an intentional thing.
Okay.
It certainly. I mean, it's very iconic. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that moment. I mean, God, we really. It's a miracle we made it through that scene, because we were just laughing so hard. I mean, I'm hoping that song turns into an album, and or even a spinoff. maybe that's the new spinoff that needs to happen.
That's
Three
it.
Men and a Little Baby.
I like it. I mean, we're going to reboot it anyway. The cast, it's all right here.
It's all happened. It happened in one scene. You're welcome.
You did it. It's done. It doesn't need to be done anymore.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to ask, if it's okay, I just want to ask quickly, I mean, Barry is one of the best shows on television. And I know that fans are super excited for season 3, whenever that may be. And I'm curious, if there's anything that you can say about kind of the way that Barry and Hank's relationship is going to change after the way season 2 ended.
Yeah, I mean,
it seems strained.
Yes, for sure. Well, I think one of the things that I respect so much about Bill Hader and Alec Berg, in terms of what they've written so far and what I've seen of the 3rd season, is that they tend to write themselves into a corner, right? And then the task is like, how do we get out of it? And so that's really dangerous stuff. But the dangerous stuff makes for the most like incredible stuff. And I think if there is some upside to us being, quarantined this whole time during the pandemic, is that they were able to give a lot of attention to detail for this next season. And I think that's going to come through. So
interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. Well, the very last thing I want to bring up is that I was a huge Gotham fan. Huge.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I want to tell you that I absolutely hated the character of Victor Zsasz before you played him.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but for whatever reason, I just could not stand that character. And then here you come with this just energy that I was like, that is the only Victor Zsasz. There are no other Victor Zsaszes.
Thank you so much.
Just him.
Man, I really appreciate hearing that. And God, that role was so much fun to play and to develop. And like, that first scene that I shot where I like stand up on the, in the GCPD desk, like I was like, oh, this is going to be a good time. This is going to be a good run.
If there was ever a chance for you to return, would you ever come back? Would you ever do Zsasz again? And would you ever want to play that character again?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I had so much fun doing it. And it's one of those things. I mean, the last scene that I shot, when on anything, basically, when you're hanging up your costume, it's a little bittersweet, but yeah, the opportunity to go back would be fantastic. So yeah. I'm all for it.
I think fans would love that, if it ever happened. But look, Fatherhood is an amazing movie, and you did a fantastic job in it, man. And I'm really excited that other people are going to get to see it because I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is Stephen Galiher with popculture.com. I'm here with the inimitable Rel Howery. How are you today, sir?
First of all, I'm still in that word, and I'm doing good.
It's all yours. It's all yours. You can have it. I gotta tell you, Rel, this is a big moment for me because I got a chance to speak with you earlier this year for Bad Trip. So you are my first ever second interview.
Wow.
First ever.
That's dope.
First ever. Yeah. I mean, it's a big moment for me. So I really appreciate you being here and taking the time to speak with me. So I watched Fatherhood and I really loved it. It's such a heartfelt movie. It's so funny. I was, crying like a baby 10 minutes in, I mean, just, I want to ask, were there ever any moments, reading the script or working, filming where you were just like, "Ooh, man, this is heavy"?
Yeah and no. I mean, for the most part, like, cause I was playing the friend, like that kind of brought the humor and stuff, so it was kind of cool. It wasn't really until I watched it again, and I'm like, all the way, like, oh my god, oh god, oh. And I read the script, you know what I mean? So like, it was like Jesus. And then because there's so many moments like that in there, man. Like, I'm a dad too, so like, when he's just laying in the bed with her, he's just like whispering and talking to us, the kisses for me. You just like, oh man, I can't. This is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm father of 3. And so there were tons of moments where I was just like, wow, this is a lot. I mean, it's like, it's too real sometimes. And it's so real. It's funny. The scene where he's changing the diaper and he leans over and he's just right in it. And you're like, yes. Oh my God, that happens. That's what you deal with. Was it fun for you being in this movie and having kids, but getting to be the guy that doesn't? Like, was that a fun thing to get to do?
That actually was, and that's how I approached it. It was weird. I approached it in a way like, well, this is how it would be if I didn't have kids. Or you got that friend who doesn't have kids, he just doing whatever he want to. Like even when I talked to wardrobe, the way the guy looked, he had like the chain on, the cool shirts for no reason, right? Because he don't have nothing else to do but just live his life, right? That's but then weirdly enough, that's what I love about the car seat scene is that he's dated enough females with kids. He's like, car seat is.
He knew. He was right there. He's like, oh no, I got the story, bro. You and Kevin have been friends for a long time, but is this the first time that you've worked on camera together, like on screen together?
A movie we did something else with Netflix. It was the Black History Month joint.
Okay.
Yeah, now that I think about it, this
as far as like a film goes, first time.
Father was the first movie we've done so far. Yep.
Is it? Do you feel like it's been a long time coming? Is this something that you guys were kind of working towards, or did it just kind of happen naturally?
It was conversations about it. At some point, we would like to do something, and I think this is the perfect kickoff for it. Like, and you can see that we have natural chemistry to the point where I think people would love to probably see us do more together, whatever the world of that is. You know,
I completely agree. When I got a chance to speak with Anthony, I asked kind of about. What it was like filming and I mentioned how natural everything seems. And he said that you guys really had a lot of opportunities to do sort of ad-libbing and improv and kind of inject your own, so what was that like, working with Kevin and getting to do that?
Well, that goes to our director too, Paul Weiss, man. It was so dope with like letting us collaborate and create together. And I appreciate that. Like Paul is probably one of my favorite directors now. Just because it felt good. We laughed so much. I don't know if I've ever laughed with a director that much. Like, we laughed so much to the point I was like, yo, are we supposed to be friends or something? Like, buddies,
well, he's got such a great repertoire. Like, he did American Pie and he did About a Boy. And if you think about how both brilliant, perfect, and different those two movies are, and then you look at Fatherhood and how much of both of them exist here.
He's like literally, I've been like begging him to do stuff now. Like, bro, you got to direct this. Because
put me in all of your movies.
I love when you find people you can work well with. You like, yo, let's just on this ground, man.
Well, you've had a really big year. I mean, gosh. So we already mentioned Bad Trip. You were in Judas and the Black Messiah. You got Fatherhood now. You got Free Guy later. You were in Tom and Jerry for a minute. So, I mean, you've had a big year. What do you feel like sets Fatherhood apart kind of from some of the other stuff you've been doing recently?
Well, I think, and that's what I like too. Everything is totally different. Like everything's different. Fatherhood just feels like it's good. Well, first of all, Father's Day weekend is coming out, but also just everything that's going on in the world, it has this very beautiful spirit of community in it. Where it's a movie that you see different people coming together to make sure, to basically a village raising this little girl. And I think that's the sentiment that you want everybody to have just in the world in general, to be honest with you. It's like, yeah, we all went through some traumatic stuff, but let's just forget all that, come together and focus on what the thing at hand is. And that's what I love about this movie. Like, even though they don't agree on everything and things like that, they're like, well, it's about Maddie.
Yeah.
And watching all of them come together, and it just becomes this beautiful experience. Man, Fatherhood is just very important. I can't wait for it to come out. And it's Father's Day weekend. Like, it ain't too many movies where they outside of Brian's song, it ain't a lot of movies that men cry at. You know what I mean? Like,
no, you're right. That's a very good point. It's very rare that something hits you so heavy. And being that, it's based on a true story, that it's taken directly from Matthew Logelin's real life. I'm curious, was your character, Anthony's character, I mean, were you guys based on real people or just kind of a collection of friends that he had?
That's what Matt said. He said we're like a collection of his friends. That's what we represent. And because I think it was maybe like a nice little group of them. Of close friends of his that helped him through everything. So me and Anthony both represent that group, you know what I'm saying? Which I think is cool too. And we don't see that a lot on film, especially with men like emotionally supporting each other. like that. You never really see that. So man, I just think that's really cool, and I'm so excited for people to see this movie. Like I really,
Me too. I agree with you. I think, a lot of times group of friend men movies are very kooky and zany, and they're fun. You know what I mean? Like they're you think about something like Tag, right? I mean, I know you were in that, but and then you've got the new Buddy Games was one that was recent. It's fun, and there's a lot of kooky and zany, but you're right. There's not a lot of emotional support. And I think one thing that I thought was interesting about Jordan is when he's trying his hardest and he's doing all he knows to do to try and like bring Matt sort of out of his funk, and you see in Jordan's face that he's like, I'm just trying here, man. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to offend you. I just really want to help, and I'm doing what I think I know to do to help. What's going through your mind in a moment like that, in a scene like that?
What you actually explained it perfectly. It is like, bro, I'm trying, man. Like because it's so funny. You go light, right? You go like, come on, man. They got this ladies gonna do this, that, and then you see his pain. It's your friend, so then you feel that you're like, I don't even know what that feels like, bro. I'm doing the best I can to what I think would help because I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what. When you're doing a scene like that, that's what's going through my head. Like, I'm trying. So it's interesting you caught that, but like it is that, which is what I love about Kevin. Kevin would deliver the pain of what that is so well. You could only react to it like, all right, man, look, okay. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. I mean, he put so much just tangible emotion into his performance, and the way that you guys all play off of each other is phenomenal. Well, I love your scenes like with the moms. Was that fun to do? Like he's joking with you about flirting with his mom. Was that awkward? Was it fun?
It was so fun. Like I love because almost once I'm in character, it's what it is. So let's go. It's all Paul's like, yo, this guy's there. I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, let's take the gloves off. It is walking, which is one of my favorite scenes because I walk in with it's kind of tense, and I'm like, chips, like, yo, what's going on? You know what I mean?
You cut the tension real well there. I mean, immediately. There's a lot of that in this movie. There's a lot of moments where it starts to get heavy, or it is heavy, and then then there's something comes in and kind of like alleviates the tension a little bit, lets you know it's okay to breathe. I thought that was a really great way of handling the subject matter.
That's why Paul White's right like that. He's a brilliant dramedy writer. Outside, he can do the silly thing, but he's good at the dramedy, man.
He really is. I wanted to add. This is a question. Maybe it's just a technical question, I guess, but I'm really curious. With baby Maddie, was that a real baby, or did they like impose the oh my gosh, Melody's face over a baby?
No, those are real babies.
Oh wow.
And then we had one robot baby.
Okay. Interesting.
Creepiest. Like I had nights I couldn't sleep after like working with the robot baby. Like, oh shit. Like I was like watch it do all it was just like the scariest thing, because especially when you had to do those late shoots, right? Because you can't have those babies there overnight and things like that. So you had to use the robot baby. The robot baby had to be out of control. Like I like literally be cringing. I'm like, oh, come a robot baby. The scariest thing you could ever see. If you want to rob me, get a robot baby.
I guess, does that mean we're never going to get to see in a horror movie about like a killer robot baby or a doll? Not going to do Annabelle?
Chucky the prequel.
There you go. That's funny. Well, Rel, I really appreciate your time today. I want to ask one last question, if it's okay. I know it's been a few years since you did your Live in Crenshaw special, and I'm curious if you have any plans to do another stand-up special in the future or anytime soon.
I just finished. I recorded a comedy album in March.
Oh, nice.
did it, and it was so funny. I did it one night in Nashville.
Oh, cool.
Did an hour and a half. I was just listening to it again the other day because I think I'm gonna release in about a month or two. I think it's my best work ever.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Because it's so vulnerable. I'm gonna call it humbly vulnerable.
I love it.
It's crazy because it's just me being honest about 2020 and being at home by myself and all this. Like it's just I'm just going there. I'm saying a lot, and I'm like, and I was what to take out and what to keep. I'm like, we're just gonna have to keep all this. It's gonna have to be what it is. What I say.